Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. Today we're checking out top 10 alien close encounters in Britain.
Do they come in peace? Welcome to Watch Mojo UK, and
It's a good
today we'll be
question.
counting down our picks for the top 10 alien close encounters in Britain.
F me
For
up,
this list,
Mojo.
we're looking at the weirdest and most compelling alien and UFO sightings from around the UK.
Cool. Y'all, aliens are real. I think. I've believed that aliens exist since I was a young boy, and it used to terrify me. It still does. The thought of something coming into, like being abducted by an alien is one of my greatest fears. It's terrifying. What a horrifying experience that must be. Ugh. I hope I never see an alien in person. I've had a couple experiences where I thought I saw a UFO, but then it turns out it was not a UFO. But in those moments, those few seconds, I was absolutely terrified. I cannot imagine if one walked into my bedroom. Oh, ah. If you're an alien and you're watching this, don't email me. Don't come to my home, please.
Number 10, Diamond in the Sky. In 1990, two hikers outside the small village of Calvine, Scotland, made history with one of the most convincing UFO photos ever taken. However, bizarrely, this photo was allegedly covered up in the 1990s by the Ministry of Defense, which apparently had a one-man department investigating UFOs for a number of years. Before the existence of this department was even public knowledge, the photo of a large diamond-shaped object did the rounds of various intelligence organizations before vanishing forever.
Real?
Only a reconstruction of the supposed image remains.
So was that first one the real photo? I mean, what could that be? If I saw that in real life, I don't know what I would do. I would go home and I would start digging a hole in my floor to the ground and then dig a hole underneath that into the ground and bury myself. I mean, it could be a blimp of some kind, a balloon.
Number 9. The Berkshire Rugby Ball. Nobody expects a rugby ball to come flying at them when they're piloting an Airbus 34,000 feet over Berkshire, but that's apparently what happened to one unlucky pilot. Only 20 miles away from Heathrow Airport, the pilot was convinced this mysterious object was going to crash right into the cockpit. He even ducked. It was reported to the authorities as a near miss in 2014, and an investigation was launched, ultimately with no results. To this day, there's no explanation for what exactly he saw.
So that confused me a bit. It's not an actual rugby ball. It was just shaped like a rugby ball, is what he's saying, right? I mean, a rugby ball, that sounds a lot like the diamond one, doesn't it? That's kind of shaped like a rugby ball, right? A rugby ball is a good flying machine shape.
Number 8. Todmorden UFO Incident. Hypnosis has been known to work wonders for alleged abductees. It certainly did when it was used on PC Alan Godfrey after a close encounter in 1980. He clearly recollected a craft the size of a bus in the northern village of Todmorden. After various calls from the public who were concerned about a herd of cows escaping, presumably spooked by the ship, a stranger named Joseph supposedly took Godfrey aboard, where a number of little creatures, or robots, examined him. Several other officers and a lorry driver also claimed to have seen something similar, adding credibility to his account.
This guy looks like the Flash Gordon villain. Ming? Yeah. Ming the Merciless. This guy, doesn't he? Yeah, I don't know. This one goes outside of the normal gray alien thing you usually hear about, but I guess those little gray aliens could be interpreted as little robots. If I saw this guy coming, oh my God. That looks like maybe an alien trying to look like a human, you know? Now this is the guy, and he does have this drawing behind him that looks like a typical gray alien. So, yo, if I saw that come into my bedroom, I don't know what I would do. I would freeze in fear.
Number 7. The Dudley Dorito.
I've
The
seen this one
Midlands'
before, I
most
think.
famous alien spaceship, the Dudley Dorito, has been sighted many times in recent years. Not
Yeah.
only have there been eyewitnesses, but some of them have even managed to photograph or film the mysterious shape.
Really?
The object gets its name from the area where it appears and its triangular shape, looking like a big crisp in the sky with a few bright lights to boot. For at least a decade, it's plagued the skies, roughly
That looks
5
different.
times the size of a jumbo jet, and people are still at a loss for explanations.
Yeah, this one is interesting because I've seen that shape reported a lot by other people. And I feel like I saw a documentary about it and they mentioned that it was probably a stealth blimp. Yeah, there's the triangle that a lot of people have seen. If I saw that floating over me, I would go inside. I would hide.
The oldest alien incident on our list occurred throughout the 18th and 19th centuries in and around Portsmouth, where a
Wow.
mysterious entity, retroactively called the Copper Man, was repeatedly sighted. While only really known to locals, this story of a human with metal skin, first recorded in 1798, is incredibly weird. A young maid even saw the man with metal flesh walk out of the sea and then go back in again, disappearing. But this frightening creature hasn't been seen at all since 1801.
Wow, I've never heard of that. Copper Man. Sounds like a robot, doesn't it? Can you imagine being alive in 1798 and seeing a man made of metal walk out of the ocean? I mean, now it would seem really bizarre and kind of terrifying, but back then. In 1801, a group of a dozen or so Portsmouth townsfolk gathered at an open-air location near Portsmouth city center to exchange goods and produce. No sooner than the wares had been carefully laid out, a local candle maker let out a shriek of fear so loud it made a hat maker fall giddy to the ground. Does that mean they were laughing? The shriek was in response to a grim ghoul of terrible countenance, replete with a skin of copper. The bizarre creature emerged from a nearby copse. What is that? Is that like a forest? A small group of trees. Okay. The bizarre creature emerged from a small group of trees, then launched itself like a golden bird into the sky, where it soon disappeared out of sight. Wow. You just don't think of the 1800s and there being robots. Crazy.
Number 5. The Stanmore Sorcerer. When police were called out to a woman's house late one evening in 1984 because she claimed to have seen a UFO, they presumably didn't expect to also be faced with the object in question. However, when they arrived, the mysterious craft was still visible overhead and stuck around long enough that they had a chance to do a rough sketch of it. The
Take a
RAF
photo.
also reported not having any planes in the sky that evening. As the story goes, the police even attempted, unsuccessfully, to follow it down the M1.
No. Yo, don't follow the UFO. Don't. That's a bad idea. That's like the little clams following the walrus to their death. Goo goo goo.
Number 4. Ilkley Moor Alien Sighting. On a cold evening in 1987, retired policeman Phil Spencer was out for a walk on Ilkley Moor, Yorkshire, on his way to visit family. He also had an idea to take photographs of strange lights he'd seen on the moors, but definitely got more than he bargained for. He saw a strange being, took a photo, and chased it back to a UFO, which quickly took off. The photo was then analysed by optical physicist and ufologist Dr. Bruce Maccabee. The conclusion was that it had not been edited and the creature was no known animal.
That is very creepy. Although, if he took this photo and then followed this being to a UFO, why didn't he take a photo of the UFO or the spacecraft? He could have made this out of paper mache and set it out in the field and then took the photo from far away. This could be a Halloween decoration. That's what I'm telling myself. I don't think this is real. just for my own sanity.
Number 3. The Envoy. The Ministry of Defense may have acted shadily on occasion, but in this instance, they apparently didn't think anything of a strange man claiming to be an envoy for an extraterrestrial diplomat who wanted to speak to the authorities. The man said he'd been in contact with aliens, specifically an alien named Algar, since he was age 7,
The composer?
and that Algar was finally ready to reveal himself publicly. Unfortunately, before this could happen, Algar was supposedly killed by some other aliens. The MOD never chased it up. We can kind of understand why, though. It does make for quite the story.
This is a haunting tale, but I tend to believe it's fake. Because there's no proof. Just a guy telling a story. He may have believed it. He may have had mental issues. It may have been his wish to be an intergalactic ambassador. And then right when the alien says he's gonna come forward, he gets killed conveniently. It's just like, I guess that could happen, but I'm erring on the side of fake.
Number 2. The Ferk Triangle. When you think of the UFO capital
fake.
of the world, the first thing that springs to mind probably isn't the village of Bonnybridge, Scotland, also nicknamed the Ferk Triangle. But it's this area's claim to fame ever since sightings began in 1992. For whatever reason, aliens seem drawn to this patch of land between Falkirk, Stirling, and Bonnybridge. Though skeptics believe that it's all a scheme by a local politician, Billy Buchanan, to attract tourists.
Could be.
But there's still hundreds of reports of strange lights and objects in the night sky.
Yeah, are these photos of it? That would get tourism up. A lot of people want to see a UFO. The opposite of me. Are there any photos of this thing, I wonder? Most UFO sightings on the planet. Wow. Oh, look at that. 300 alien visits a year? Well, it seems like a lot. That's almost every day. Another problem is that it's so easy to fake a photo now. This looks fake. Yeah, image is mocked up drawing of UFO description. Yeah, take a photo, y'all. Take a photo and run the other way. Is there a military base around there? What's going on in Bonnybridge, y'all? That might be a place I avoid. I do not want to see a UFO.
Number 1. The Rendlesham Forest Incident. So significant it's nicknamed Britain's Roswell,
I think
what
I've heard
happened
of
at
this.
Rendlesham Forest in Suffolk in 1980 has baffled people for decades.
This was near...
Centering on an airbase RAF Woodbridge over a few nights at the end of December, many high-ranking officials claimed to see a UFO come down in the woods. Personnel went on to investigate and found a glowing metal object that left burn marks behind. The incident spooked so many people that the MOD were forced to issue a public statement that national security was not at risk.
Yeah, I think I've heard of this one before, and I think it happened like 2 days in a row or a couple days in a row, like 2 or 3 days in a row. And one of the sightings was when a team of the military people went out into the forest to investigate, and they could see a light through the trees that looked like an eyeball, or like an eye, like a rugby ball shape. But it was a light, and they could see it through the trees. How terrifying. I would not, oh my God, I don't know what I would do. Oh, I do know what I would either freeze in fear or run the other way. So that happened one night, and then I think the next night they saw a light in the sky again, and they went looking around, and then they see an actual craft, like a triangular craft landed on the ground, and it had markings on it, I think. Is that right? Oh, this is a recreation, I see. George with a UFO replica in Rendlesham Forest. Look at that. It doesn't look like it could fly, but I guess it could. Oh, some people think it was a lighthouse. I feel like people would know what that looks like, a lighthouse. Yeah, it's interesting that the reports came from military personnel, because usually they don't talk about that kind of stuff, or they would be reprimanded for that kind of thing. But it's right by a military base, so, they could have just been experimenting with a drone, or some kind of technology that was just up and coming. It's hard to know for sure. Pretty creepy though. Y'all, if you see a UFO, don't engage. Go the other way. Scary stuff. To me, this is the creepiest one because look at this little alien's face. He's smiling. He's leaning on a rock. He's like, take my photo. What? That's a smile. See his little grin? Yeah. Which makes me think it's probably a Halloween decoration that he set out there in the field. Maybe not. Well, these were terrifying. Great. More raw info for me to have nightmares about tonight. Anyway, thank y'all for watching this with me. I hope you don't have nightmares like I will, and I'll see y'all next time. Later.